Hello, guys. Welcome to Red Hawk Press News. I'm Romeo Pugh, creator and your host. I will be having other hosts join me on Red Hawk Press News. I will be doing a lot of hiring soon. So let's get into the news and let's get straight to it. All right, guys. So with everything that's going on, I'm gonna get straight to the nitty gritty of what everything is on fire. So let's talk about the Insurrection Act. We're gonna talk about Donald Trump, his last options to win the presidency, and we're gonna talk about the SCOTUS, and we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. So let's get straight to it. Donald Trump right now is considering using the Insurrection Act. I've been seeing posts on Facebook. I've been seeing so many people talk about it. I've been seeing Lyndon Wood, his attorney, talk about it. I've been seeing Jenna Ellis, which is his attorney. She's been talking about it, but I'm gonna get straight to the facts. My prediction is that on January 6th, I believe a lot of Trump supporters will descend upon Washington. I think that Donald Trump should use the Insurrection Act as the last emergency act to win the presidency. Let me tell you why. Because Democrats cheated. The Democrats, they cheated this. You had over 20,000 dead people voting alone in one county. And that was in North Carolina and Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So imagine the widespread voter fraud going on across the country. Another thing is that, with that being said, you have these ballots. What I mean by ballots? You have ballots that were made for illegal immigrants. And different laws in Pennsylvania, it is illegal to sign somebody else's name on a ballot if they are not there. You cannot do that. They changed legislation. They had changed legislation before, literally a couple days before the election occurred. You cannot do that. That is illegal. That is a federal crime. And number two, the state electors of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, especially Pennsylvania, and Michigan were notified to actually do not vote for Trump. And that led Trump to having other electors to vote for him. So the crazy part is Trump electors actually voted for him, which they can, and the Constitution shows you can. So now that's going to lead to Mike Pence reading which electors he want to take. We'll get into that in a second. Let's go back on the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act basically allows Trump to use military force to not only civilians, because it's not martial law. CNN, Cancer CNN, and stupid MSNBC and the Washington Post, they're basically making it seem like he's going to use martial law on people. No, that's not how that works. Insurrection Act is like a little watered down version of martial law. It's where you can use the military to seize criminals or to actually seize information that you could seem deemed worthy to the United States, kind of like treason a little bit. So Trump can use the military to seize these ballots and the information and to see if it was a corrupt election or if the election was legit. And we all know the election was corrupt. Number two, the Insurrection Act allows Trump to go after people like Nancy Pelosi, Governor Newsom in California, people who are suspected of treason for an election. I think Donald Trump should use this as a last resort, but it's not off the table. I think that should be the last resort because you don't want to go to the military, using the military in natural daily civilians' lives. That should be the last resort. So what I think is going to happen, my prediction is, I think on January 6th, when they're counting the electors votes, and I think Mike Pence should count Trump's electors because that's the right one. You can't solidify an election that most 6% of Republicans, including myself, because I'm in the middle, I actually think was corrupt, which it was. So I think that should give Trump the win. Now, if Mike Pence doesn't do his job, then we could be talking about martial law. I'm getting that in a second. The other scenario is where one of the House of Representatives, which is Republican, and a senator signs on challenging the votes, which I think is going to happen. Then the Republicans, but Mitch McConnell is messing everything up. He's so corrupt. Let me get started on him. I think if the Republicans come together, they can overturn it and have Trump become the president. But Mitch McConnell is more interested in self-preservation than Trump. He used Trump to get elected. If it wasn't for Trump, most of these Republicans would not be elected. The Democrats would run the Senate and the House. Trust me. Trust me. Trump is for that. And Mitch McConnell needs to own up and give Trump the support and stop being a damn coward, Mitch McConnell, and actually own up and do what you need to do to stop all this treason going around. So if Mike Pence failed to uphold his duty, which I don't think he will, and Mitch McConnell blocks Trump, which he's already telling Republicans not to go with Trump, then I think Trump should use Insurrection Act to seize control of the ballots and make himself the president, because it was a fraud election. It's corrupt. The coward ass SCOTUS and AKA the Supreme Court, the cowards. I forgot the guy's name, but he's the white guy. I forgot his name. But they heard a witness said they heard people that was yelling when they were trying to debate whether they should take up the case or not for Trump. And he's a coward. He was saying people don't riot like that in the early 2000s when it was Bush versus Gore. He's a coward. I'm talking to all you Supreme Court justices. You're cowards. And if you guys are continuing to not uphold the Constitution, then people are going to remember that. And people will be coming for you. And there's not no threat or anything like that. I'm just saying what I've been hearing. People are ready to purge, man. They're ready. They're so sick of tired of people. They're ready to purge. So I think January 6th, I've been saying this, I think January 6th, I think it's going to be a lot of Trump supporters, and I also think it's going to be a lot of Antifa people that's going to clash together. I think that's going to create a lot of chaos, which is going to prompt Donald Trump to use a military insurrection act and also use military law, martial law, aka martial law. And I think that's going to be where to his advantage, to where he can use that to actually hold him to the presidency and actually stop Sleepy Joe Biden and aka Kamala Harris, the person that kills black people and puts them in jail. That's a little joke. So that's what I think is going to happen, guys. I think Trump should use the full extent of his powers. I think he should use the Insurrection Act to basically put people up, lock people up, and actually has the moral duty to actually look at the ballots and see if they're legit. And if it's not legit, use military action to do that. And then I think it's going to be chaos. I think we're going to have a civil war. Not like a civil war back in the day, but like a civil war to where you have Trump supporters versus Antifa and Black Lives Matters. And keep them getting matter. Black lives do matter, but I just don't support the movement because the movement burned down stuff. Once again, I support Black Lives Matter. I just don't support the movement because the movement is dangerous. George Soros is corrupt. He needs to be in prison. But anyway, I think the insurrection act should be used to its full extent. And they try to put it in the bill to where he couldn't use his powers, but he vetoed it. The government is shutting down Monday, tomorrow, and I'm glad it is. And politicians should get paid if we don't get paid. They work for us. We are American patriots. All right? Time for you guys to start acting like it. And I'm looking at you guys. If you guys are struggling financially or anything like that, guys, remember, we're going to get through this. There are some jobs you can actually work for. I'm working with my company and a couple other companies to help the less fortunate. So I think martial law is coming. January 6th is going to be chaotic, and that's going to give Trump what he needs to use martial law and lock these people up. That's the last option. But I think it should be used as the last option. We will see. With Trump, you never know. But I'm Romeo Pugh. This is Red Hawk Crescent News, man. You guys be safe, and I'll see. Will Trump use the Insurrection Act or martial law? Or will Mike Pence and China Mitch McConnell step up and do their duties? We'll see.